Guys, have I got a nice story for you? And long may it last. I'm in a lovely mood because I just did a very nice interview on a huge channel. Yeah, and it went well. And they contacted me afterwards and really were quite kind. So back to reality. Okay, I've got milch goats. Milk goats, same thing, but the correct term is milch. I've got milch goats vir die tyd wat voorlê, because I have always liked the idea of having goats, and milch goats are not necessarily the be-all and the end-all to me, but I beg your pardon, one of my pages, active pages, is kind of doing loops or something, and it's very distracting in my peripheral vision. And yeah, but I like the idea of goats, and milch goats milk is the best of all milk for babies that can't take their mother's milk, or a wet nurse's milk, human milk. Far better than cow's milk. And so yeah, that's that thing. I got them from Louis, who many of you know. This will drive me crazy. Close it. Louis Hutting in the Eastern Cape. Actually, technically, I got them from his wife, Marguerite, the superstar, little blonde lady with the kids. And recently, somebody moved to this area. They have milch goats, and my milch goats are on Urea Plainvee Plaas in a camp. In a Wildskamp, actually. It used to have springbok in it, but I'm digressing now. My ram, Bismarck, has escaped from that camp alone. Never mind all of his other escapes, 5 or 6 times. And with endless dramas involved. Oh, you don't know how what I've had to go through to get him back and what have you. Anyway. The local Suidlanders head, Jacques Cornelius, lives on that farm. And we had a braai recently, and this new incomer family, we're talking about their goats, and I wanted to see their goats, and I had to go and see my goats. I said to Jacques, do you want to come for a drive? Go and have a look at these people's goats, Kevin and his family. Okay, so we go there. And actually that whole story is just by way of kind of setting the scene or introduction. This video is not about goats. I looked at his goats. Great, fine. It looks as if we're going to do something together. His ewes and my ram, maybe. But the real point of this video is they arrived, they're living on a plot outside of town. Not a large plot, like 1 hectare or 2 hectares. It is either 1 or 2, not 1.1 or 8,9. It is 1 or 2 hectares large, because that is the size of those plots, those 2 sizes. And I can't tell you how much that little family, they've got young kids. So it's mom and dad. You know, the kids are too young to do meaningful work. Much too young. How much those people have achieved, guys, I can't tell you. Did you see me tinkering with the dictionary when I started? It's because I wanted to look up a word to be absolutely certain that I didn't make an error. I've always known this word. I've always discerned or discriminated between the words covetous, envious, jealous. When we left, Jacques and I commented to one another on how much those guys had achieved. And I was making the point, Jacques is a very productive, industrious wife, you know, Madeleine. She does lots of veggies like you cannot believe. And all sorts of interesting plants with different properties. You know that wild, is it called wild lettuce? The plant whose sap is a more powerful painkiller than opium. That she's even got that stuff, got everything. But we were commenting on how well Kevin and his wife have done. And I was saying, you know, being a bachelor, an unwilling bachelor. Yes, I wish I had somebody to help me with this, that. And we were quiet for a while. And Jacques turned to me and he hit the nail of my sentiments in that moment on the head perfectly. He said, it actually makes you jealous, doesn't it? I looked at him. Square on, I was driving. But the comment was so poignant. I took my eyes off the road and I looked him straight in the eyes and I said to him, yeah, it does. Because that's what I was feeling. Jealousy is a poisonous thing. It's a toxic thing. I take pride in not being a jealous person. But in that moment, all I felt was jealousy. These people, and it's wrong. If I got off my backside, I could also, okay, when you don't have a partner to help you, you will never do half. Never. If you have a good woman helping you, you do much more than double what you get done alone. Much more than double. But the fact is that I have not achieved a fraction of what they've done since April. April! And they didn't do it with Big Tom. I asked quite pertinently. I said to the guy, look, it's none of my business, but you know, may I ask kind of this, that? And he said to me, well, I had such and such a job and I was paid so and so well, and then I did this, and then I cashed in that, and then nothing spectacular, no big bucks behind this thing. They have built from the ground up in May, June, July, August, September, November, December, in 8 months. Something phenomenal. And I've been wanting to make this video for 3 or 4 days, excuse me, because it is, I mean, to witness it, to experience it, to see it, it's quite incredible. I'm not talking about palatial. No, not at all. I'm talking about ordinary, humble, modest. But they've got goats sorted out, and they've got Wagyu cattle, 12, 15 of them. They've got, I don't know how many hens, it must be going on for 50. They've got egg incubators, breeding chickens, little chicks left, right, and center. They've built a double-story house out of a couple of containers, and this, that, the next thing. They've been milking the goats. They've got it. They've just done so well. And I mention all of this. The purpose of this video is not to flatter Kevin and his family. The purpose of this video is just to speak well to you about other people who believe, who are convinced, as I am, let's say, as we all are as Suidlanders, don't get me wrong, but who's somewhat fanatical is not the right word, but who's convinced that the signs are there for a particular threat, therefore a particular level of commitment must drive a particular level of application. We believe this, therefore we must dedicate ourselves and do it. Gee, man, hey, they've done well. That's the whole story. That's the whole story. I wish you could see it for yourselves. But may we all May we all be inspired by God to lift our games, to do better, to improve, to do as well as these ordinary people, not buxed up people, no spondulics. The labor man working every day and achieving incredible things. He's got something like 7,200 conservatively. We tried to work it out and we erred on the side of conservatism as we made the mathematics. 7,200 milli cobs for his family for the next year. Do you believe that? I mean, it's just one random example of doing it, achieving it. Right. We've got all of the, all of the carbohydrates, the starches that we need. Boom, done. Move on. Fantastic. Good for them. May God bless them and the work of their hands. And may our Lord inspire all of us as His children who believe in Him and who love Him and know that our God is the only salvation, the only God, the only salvation. May He inspire us to emulate what those people have done. I say this from deep in my heart, that our people, we shall do so well as they. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you. Bye-bye.